Mr. Coovadia, lovely to have you with us here on NewsLink. Just from the cuff, what is your immediate reaction, or what did you think of the President's speech?
Thanks for having me, and morning to your viewers. I think the President was quite emphatic about the role of business in creating jobs. I think he was also emphatic that the government's role is to create an environment for business to do so, to get rid of red tape, to make it easier for businesses to do business, to grow, to establish businesses. And he was quite clear that jobs will be created primarily by the private sector, not by government. And I think we welcome all of that. We welcome a clearer message than has been before, that the private sector needs to be freed to do what it does best, which is to grow businesses, create businesses, and employ people. And we've been saying for quite some time that we don't have too many choices in our country, given where we are currently. We need to create an environment for investment, and we need to tell investors, both local and global, that we are open for business and there should be no buts behind that sentence. And off the back of that investment, we can then create and build an inclusive economy. And it's got to be an inclusive economy to be sustainable. And we acknowledge that, and we have always acknowledged that. So from that point of view, we welcome the President's emphasis on that. And we think that there's something for us to work with.
Well, the President's emphasis on it has happened before. This was his 6th State of the Nation address. He's spoken even as Deputy President, at least to the media before, about, especially political instability that has seen us downgraded by many of these ratings agencies, and therefore even affects people wanting to come invest here. So is there political will, according to you, for that environment to be created, for business to create employment?
I think you go to the sort of nut of the problem. I think that this has been the problem, that we have had these statements, but they haven't been implemented. The vision and the intent has not been implemented. And we would urge the President to show decisive leadership in implementing this. We would urge the President to ensure that his cabinet is fully behind him, because we need certainty. Government needs to consult with business, they need to consult with labor, they need to consult with community groups. But we shouldn't get into consultation paralysis. After consultation, government should say, okay, we have spoken to you all, we've heard you, this is the direction we are taking. And government needs to decide that. You can't, in a social compact, decide what sort of economy we're going to grow, what are the policies that need to be put into place. Government has been elected to do that. They need to do that after consultation. And then they can pull the different social partners together to say, this is the direction, these are the decisions we've taken after consultation. Now let us all put our shoulders to the wheel. And I think we can get things done in that way. So we know the history. There hasn't been implementation. One of the reasons there hasn't been implementation is the politics, and we urge the President to rise above that. The other is government capacity. And we have always said that we are prepared to provide capacity, and the 100 days that the President is talking about, we believe should be used to pull, certainly as business, we are willing to work with government in those 100 days to identify the critical issues, unpack those, develop an implementation plan, who's responsible for what, where the resources and capacity are going to come from. And then in the 100 days say, now, this is what government has decided, this is what we're doing. Now, all sectors of society pull behind us, and that's what we should be doing.
Now, where does Business Unity South Africa stand with the announcement by the President to invite somebody from the private sector, somebody from business to look after or actually just help government take out the red tape and bureaucracy for businesses to be able to go on and create jobs? This is somebody who was also at Saki. How are you feeling about that appointment?
Well, I think Sipho Nkosi, who's been appointed to this, is an excellent person. He'll undoubtedly do a great job there. And you know, we will help him in any way he needs help, if he asks for help once he's settled into the position. So we wish him the best, and I have no doubt that he will, with the task team, come out with clear recommendations of what needs to be done to reduce red tape, to make it easier to do business in this country. But we do, and that's part of us saying that we want to provide capacity. So he's using private sector capacity. But I think we also need to take a step back and ask ourselves where best to use capacity. Now, on something like this, you know, ideally, the president should have pulled into a room, let's say the Minister of Trade and Industry and the Minister of Small Business Development, say this is what we need to do to reduce red tape, to make it easier to do business in this country. In the next month, go and do it and report them. And if they don't do it, hold them accountable. I mean, that's the way things should be working. But having said that, that's not the way the president has gone about it, and that's his prerogative. I think that Sipho will do an excellent job. We will certainly help him in any way we can if he seeks help. I have no doubt he will come out with good recommendations on what to do. But at the end of the day, at least one, if not more, government departments have to actually implement those recommendations. And the president needs to be absolutely clear that once those recommendations are out, the relevant departments implement them urgently, and if the implementation doesn't happen, he must hold them to account.
And your reaction to the hemp and cannabis industry, us following suit after Lesotho, are you going to be welcoming as Business Unity South Africa of people who want to have business, particularly in this sector?
Well, it's one of the growth sectors that we need to look at. We should be able to actually leverage off the resources we have in hemp and cannabis, and we should be able to turn it into sound business opportunities. But again, whether it's cannabis or hemp or whether it's something else, if the environment isn't there, we'll need investment for that, even local investors. Local investors will invest in that if they are absolutely clear that their investments are safe, that the environment is there for them to start new businesses in processing hemp and cannabis for medicinal and other uses. So whether it's hemp and cannabis or anything else, we can't run away from the imperative to create the environment for local and global investors so that businesses can grow.
Thank you so much for your time here on NewsLink, Mr. Coovadia.